What's going on, everybody? This is the Bearded Guy Podcast channel. I hope you are doing well in your world. I hope all is good with you and your family. Now, today we're just hanging out here in the podcast studio. This is my little playroom, as my wife calls it. But I got something I want to talk about, something that's really kind of on my mind, and I don't want to say on my nerves, but it gets kind of under my skin. Now, I'm going to be talking about our duly elected officials, our politicians, those that are in power, that are in charge to watch over and take care of the interest of the population at large. And I think they're doing a piss poor job of it, quite honestly. They are ruining the American way of life. And all because they're greedy for power. That's what drives me the most insane about this, is that there's a lot of finger pointing and a lot of things going back and forth where people are just, it's your fault, your fault, your fault, your fault. Nobody wants to take the blame for it. Nobody wants to fix the problem. And for what? All for power. That is the most important thing to our politicians right now. Who is going to be in power after the election? I hear so many things on the radio and on the TV. It's gotten to the point where I can't watch the news because it's always a finger-pointing session. Now, this is not just Democrats. This is Republicans as well. You do some dirty stuff yourself. The problem and the way I see it is, especially what's going on in the world with not only the pandemic, but the riots, this is been politicized. This is for a political agenda now. This is for nothing more than to gain a seat back in office and to gain the White House. I heard it on the news the other day. The politicians, I forget which Democrat it was, but they were saying, well, Donald Trump is responsible for the coronavirus. Are you kidding me? That's no different than saying Obama is responsible for H1N1. Neither one of them are to blame for what happened. It just happened. But if you notice, the Democrats are politicizing that. And why are they doing that? Because they're creating division and they're sowing fear just to gain the White House back. Again, coronavirus is no more Trump's fault than Obama and H1N1 or Ebola, for that matter. It's just something that happened. And for all of the armchair quarterbacks who are saying, well, if Donald Trump should have done this or this politician should have done that, I would have done this and I would have done that. You don't know what you would have done. You don't know what you would have done. You're armchair quarterbacking at best whenever you do that. And to say that you would have done things to a different result, how can you say that? Nobody has a crystal ball. But the sad part is that most people will hear statements like that and hear comments like that and they'll go, it's probably right. It's probably right. Yep. No, it's not. For those that are wanting to be in positions of power, to say that if they would have been in power at the time that something happened, they would have done X, Y, Z and gotten an ABC result, you're lying through your teeth. That's another thing. You know how you tell if a politician's lying? Their lips are moving. It's a dead giveaway. Every time. It's a dead giveaway. Check it out next time. But that's the truth. To say that you would have had a different result because you would have done something completely and totally different is nothing more than a lie. You don't know what you would have done because you don't know what you should do in situations like this. You don't know what's the best way forward. All you can do is take, especially now with it being a pandemic and, the virus that's spreading, all you can do is listen to doctors and scientists and say, this is what we probably should do. Now, that doesn't mean that that's not going to morph and change and take on a different appearance as it goes further along. Because as the science comes in, more information is learned and gathered, and we're able to apply things that may not have worked in the beginning, or we may have thought worked at the beginning, but that's morphed into something else. I just think it's sad that our politicians use things like this to play us. We're nothing more than pawns in a big game to them, and it's a game of power. It's a game of power at any cost. Look, when you sell your soul to the devil, there's going to be a price to pay. And I'm talking to Republicans and Democrats both the same. When you sell your soul to the devil, there's going to be a price to pay. I just think it's sad. I think it's sad that we are a great nation of diverse and talented and wonderful people, but yet we allow people we've elected into office playing a game of power to divide and separate us on so many issues. It drives me insane to listen to this. And another thing too, look at who gets in bed together whenever you're talking politicians. There's a perfect example playing out in front of us right now. When there was finger pointing and accusations, and I believe this, that, or the other about you and what was said about you, now all of a sudden it's like, not so much. Again, it's a position of power. That's what people are looking for, positions of power, and they will say and do anything to get that. When are we, the American public, going to wake up and go, I've had enough. I'm tired of this. When are we going to wake up and go, you know what? I don't need any free stuff right now. What I need is leadership. You know what? I don't need you to give me anything else. What I need is someone to take control of the situation at hand and guide us through it to the end in an honest way. I don't think there's anybody that can do that. I don't. Now, that's not to say that all politicians are bad. That's not the truth at all. Not all politicians are bad. Not all politicians are in their positions for nothing more than power. There are some there that want to do good, that have a moral compass that they live by, that want to do good by the American public. But sadly, those good people are overshadowed by the evil that goes on day in, day out. When are we going to say enough is enough? I, for one, am sick to death of it. You know what? I'll tell you what. I don't care if you're a Republican or Democrat in the White House, but you better have a moral compass, and you need to lead by example, meaning bipartisan, meaning you're not in there for an agenda. You're not in there for an angle to gain. You're not in there for just pure power. You're in there to lead the people, to lead the American people. That is what a president should do. That is what an elected official should do. That is what a politician should do. But it's so easy to fill up the pockets. It's so easy to make that money. Think about it this way. Some of the most well-known politicians today, pointing fingers, slandering, throwing mud, are millionaires. And they've been in office for years and decades. What does that tell you? Think about that next time. I want you to think about that next time. Millionaire politicians who've been in office for decades are now saying, well, we need to do this because this is how this is going to get fixed. I'm sorry, you've been in office for decades. What have you been doing? Oh, that's right. Filling up your bank account. Special interest. Taking kickbacks. Living high on the hog on the backs of those that elected you. You must not have a soul. You must not have any conscience whatsoever to be able to lay your head down and sleep at night. When are we going to say enough is enough? When are we as an American people going to go, that's enough, I'm done, I can't do any more? I want you to lead, or you're going to go. And vote them out. We've got to get to that point. We have got to get to that point as a people. We've got to lay down these differences. We've got to lay down our petty arguments, and we've got to come to a common ground so we can get back to normal, whatever normal is. You know, my podcast really deals with the paranormal, and oddities and aliens and different things like that. But there's so much going on in the world that's just upside down and backwards. I can't help but want to put that out there on my platform. I can't help but want to share my voice in a sea of other voices. And this is just my opinion. These are just my rants. These are my thoughts. Hopefully I'll get back to the point where I can go back and do some exploration into my chosen podcast theme. I'd much prefer to be thinking about what's the next episode going to be about. Is it witches? Is it vampires? Is it aliens? What is it? But every time I look at the news or I listen to the news or I look outside my door, the world is in total chaos. We, the American people, we are going to have to say enough is enough, and we're going to have to force the hand to get back to normal. And when I say force the hand, what I mean is we're going to have to start electing people that have the American public's best interest at heart and do whatever it takes to lead the American people. With honesty and integrity. Those are the two things we need, honesty and integrity. We don't need all the hyperbole. We don't need all the finger pointing. We don't need the mudslinging. Honesty and integrity. So for the Bearded Guy podcast, I appreciate you coming by, checking this episode out. If you're watching on YouTube and you like the content, please hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell. That way when I do post future content, you get the notification. You can come in and check it out. Sometimes I do live streams on Saturdays at 7. You can come in and join the live stream as well. You'll get the notification for that. If you're on my podcast platform proper, thank you for stopping in to give this podcast episode a quick listen. I do appreciate it. When you could have been doing anything else in the world today, you took the time out of your day to listen to my podcast episode. It is appreciated more than you know. And if you've got a comment about this video or this podcast, please drop me a line at beardedguypodcast@gmail.com. That's beardedguypodcast@gmail.com. I would love to hear from you, my listeners. I'd love to hear your comments. Your feedback is always welcome. So I do thank you. I do appreciate it more than you know. And it's always my hope that you have a great day, a better day tomorrow, and a wonderful week ahead of you. And until next time, this has been the Bearded Guy Podcast.